Welcome back to Basketball Past, Present, and Future, presented by SeatGeek. Guys, we got to have the uncomfortable NBA conversation right now. Everyone's talking about it, so we'll give our 2 cents. Because yes, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander absolutely falls down a lot, but is this really just a Shai problem, or is this what the modern NBA has quietly rewarded? So a recent Yahoo Sports Film study tracked over 1,300 playoff shot attempts from stars like SGA, Harden, Brunson, Mitchell, and Wemby. And Shai hit the floor on 17.4% of his shots, nearly 4 times more than Victor Wembanyama, the most out of any major star in the playoffs. So now the study specifically said it's not automatically proof of flopping, but fans around the league are clearly frustrated with how offensive players manipulate contact and officiating right now. So CJ, as a former guard, where's the line between smart basketball and foul baiting? Because players are taught to create contact, but fans also don't want to watch free throws all night.
Yeah, it's tough because I know flopping was it wasn't super big when I played, but I'm sure it wasn't big at all when coach played. But I definitely believe that players use it and they know the rules. Once you learn the rules and do it the way you can and get to the free throw line, manipulate the refs, I think it's hard to not flop. But I also think, we were taught to also just play through contact. So, a lot of players are just flopping now. And when I played, they would give the flopping calls mostly to the superstars and big name players. But now everyone's doing it. Everyone's trying to get to the free throw line, which, stops the game, slows the games down for fans. So I see why fans don't like it, but also think that players got to learn to play through that. But also, you got to penalize it, wherever it's kind of over dramatic.
When I was frustrated with referees, especially in the D League, I used to tell, people, if you fall, you get a call. And it's on the referees and the league to clean up, because the players are going to get away with what they can get away with, and it's taken away from the game. Back when I played 100 years ago, Don Nelson, who CJ played for too later in his career, he used to teach us that we didn't flop, but when we went to the basket and got contact, we shouted out, hey, hey, to try and get attention of the ref to get a call. We did that all the time, but now it's exaggerated, falling down, and the referees and the league have to clean it up. FIBA does it. They have a call. It's called flopping. You get an offensive foul. That's the signal for it. And the NBA tried to do that a couple of years ago, and then they just went away from it. And now I feel they'll go back to that flopping as an offensive call. They did go, because for a long time, jump shooting players would kick out their leg and create contact with the defense and get a call. Now the referees are more likely to call that an offensive foul of kicking out your leg. So it's an adjustment the league has to make, because defensively, the definition of defense is supposed to be, impeding the offense, but that's a foul now. It's literally in the rule book. The defense cannot impede the offense. It makes no sense to me.
Question actually on that. Do players around the league actually talk about, which refs reward certain moves and how to sell contact, or is that overblown by fans and media?
I think players do talk about which refs give more leeway, and I feel like the refs will even tell you if you walk up to them and be like, I think most refs are pretty fair. They'll tell you, hey, you're doing too much, or that wasn't a foul, or stuff like that. So I definitely think the refs have to take control of that more in the league. But yeah, I think players always talk about that stuff in the locker room. I think I got fined one time for flopping. It wasn't even bad either. I just but the guy actually hit me and I fell back, but I threw my head back, but I sold it pretty well. I was a good actor that day.
Yeah, and I don't think the players share as much, but through experience, they know which refs do this and which refs call that. So they just know it, and it's worked into your. I see these. Don't think that every player at the beginning of the game, they always look at who the reffing crew is. Mm-hmm. I mean, they give you a sheet before the game. It's in the locker room with their pictures on it. Mm-hmm. So, okay. I remember back in the day, Earl Strom and Dick Bavetta, those guys, we want those guys on the road because they're, they don't get caught up in the crowd. They make, fair calls. Some other refs who all remain nameless are the opposite. They get involved with the crowd. So if you have them on the road, you got no chance.
Yeah, Coach, don't get yourself into trouble right now. It's not worth it. Once we get more money, then we'll absolutely let you say whatever you want to say. CJ, I guess my final question for you is, SGA is unbelievably skilled regardless, but do you think the criticism gets louder because he's now one of the faces of the league and a back-to-back MVP?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, when you have so much success like he's having, back-to-back MVPs, world champion, all this type of stuff, yeah, the criticism is going to get louder and louder, and obviously, people are dissecting it even more, making clips and showing him pushing off, showing him falling. So it's definitely going to get louder and louder. He just has to just remain himself and just be him and just keep playing. He's already, a great player, and he's probably going to get even better. So just got to, take it for what it's worth.